Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Lakna. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to talk about the upcoming full moon, which is happening on October 6th or 7th depending on where you live, and I'm going to share some of my intuitive and Vedic astrology insights. So this full moon is happening in Pisces at the very last star nakshatra called Revati, and this is my Vedic astrology insights. In Western, I think it's happening in Aries. So in Vedic astrology, it's happening at the very last star, which is also the very last nakshatra of all of the nakshatras. So it is a special star. It signifies the end of a cycle and preparing for a new beginning, which will happen at the new moon. And this full moon is really a culmination point of all that has taken place and transpired during the eclipse season, which was last month. And eclipses bring up profound growth and change and transformation, which was happening in September. There was a lot going on, a lot shifting in our energetic fields around us and within us. And when that is happening, it is hard to really see clearly and to really be able to integrate and process what's going on and even understand what is happening. And I believe this full moon is going to be that peak point where the light of the moon is going to illuminate to us what we haven't been able to understand and give us that real clarity that we need to clear away what needs to be cleared and to really go through the closures and the completions of whatever karmic cycles need to be released, and what we need to integrate, to feel, to heal, and just really align with our more lighter, more freer selves. So it's about clearing, releasing, integrating, processing. And with this being in Pisces, this is a lot to do with feeling. Pisces is a water sign that is super deeply emotional and empathetic, and it's about really feeling through in our bodies what wants to come up and really giving ourselves the space to feel whatever wants to come up now and not really trying to overanalyze or overthink it. This sign of Revati is ruled by Mercury, while Pisces is ruled by Jupiter. So there is this intellectual component to Revati. Even though it is a water sign, there is the mental energy of Mercury, which is bringing up the importance of our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, which are really connected to our emotions, to our feelings. The way that we feel about ourselves stems from our thoughts and our beliefs and the communication that is going on internally, which is based upon our thoughts and beliefs, and then that is then communicated and it becomes messages and we communicate that. And that is what Mercury is all about. And Mercury is also a lot to do with travel, which Revati has a lot of themes to do with traveling. There's Revati natives, or this energy of Revati has a lot to do with traveling and just exploring, and also time. Travel can be associated with time when you think about like past, present, and future. It is only really the now that exists, and the Pisces Jupiter portion of it is really wanting us to understand that deeply and to know that and trust that in God's timing, in divine timing, and like when you have that faith in God's timing and divine timing, you can move with more flow and trust and alignment, because you're not putting pressure or pushing against the flow. When you are pressuring yourself and pushing against that divine guidance and flow, that is when things go wrong and when things get out of alignment, and then it just sort of like lessons come up based upon your ability to trust and have faith in the divine. And Pisces, with the ruler being Jupiter, is really about having that divine trust and surrender. And this is connected to Neptune, which is Neptune is retrograde, has been since July, and will be ending its retrograde cycle by the end of the year. So we're moving close to this completion of the lessons that we are supposed to integrate through Neptune being retrograde. And Saturn is also retrograde since July and will also be almost completing its retrograde cycle in November. So both of these planets are almost at a completion of their retrograde phase. So we are coming to a culmination point at the time of this full moon of a lot of the lessons and the clarity that we need to sort of reflect on and integrate from these two planets, as well as the moon. The moon is sort of being that light to show us some things, to sort of assist in the integration for those two planets. So the Neptune is wanting us to surrender and to trust more and to really love ourselves unconditionally in a way that we know that we are enough just as we are, and we love ourselves wholly and completely, imperfections and all. And when we have that divine love and care for ourselves, and we have a really strong self-concept, that really is the base or the foundation of how we will then be able to perceive reality outside of ourselves, because reality that we're perceiving outside is also reflecting so much of our beliefs about ourselves back to us. And Neptune is all about our perception, and that's why a lot of people say Neptune can create illusions and fog and confusion. And it's all to do with our perception, which is based upon our thoughts and our beliefs and our mindset, which Revati being ruled by Mercury, our intellect, our mind, our thoughts, our beliefs, plays such a big role in our perception and our whole reality, how we perceive life. And because Saturn and Neptune are both retrograde and both conjunct this full moon, it just really indicates how much these eclipse changes and transformations that are happening, so much of that is really happening on an internal level. So there may not be anything happening in your external reality. It may all be happening internally. It may be that you have seemingly nothing going on in your life right now. Maybe you might be just extra tired even. That might be an example of how this energy can be rising up for you to process, because your tiredness and fatigue is just showing that you are integrating and processing, and your body is clearing and healing through the rest that you are taking. And yeah, that's just one example. Another example might be that you are extroverted in this time and needing to meet different people and go to different events and experience different things, traveling, exploring, because through these experiences is how certain emotions, memories, things about yourself that you wouldn't be able to see unless you are in that certain environment are going to show up, to activate you, to trigger you, to help you shift and transform. And at this full moon, I do recommend, usually during full moons and new moon cycles, to be more introspective and alone if you can, and just integrate what wants to come up. But with this one, I say honestly, do what you feel called to do. I do think many of you will be called to be in community or connecting with others because of the Mercury and Jupiter influence. Some of us will definitely be more extroverted, but some of us will also definitely be more introverted and in a hermit phase. So yeah, whatever is coming up for you, it really depends on your own birth chart and like what is going on in your external world right now, but it's all perfect, it's all happening to help you. And that is a big lesson and theme with this full moon, is to just trust and to surrender and to know that it's all happening according to the divine plan, and to just allow yourself to be more in the flow and respecting that you don't always know or have control over the destination or even the journey to get to the destination. It's just allowing the divine unfolding of your life to take place. And with Saturn also retrograde right now, we are being called to make more planning and more planning and more preparations in our life, and more structure, more grounding, more divine, disciplined, devotional actions to really create that stability and structure. And boundaries as well. Saturn is wanting to enforce these boundaries that maybe Neptune in our chart has been blurring. So the blurred boundaries are now needing structure and reinforcing in a healthy way. We don't want to be completely closing ourselves off to what is aligned in our life and closing off your heart space, which closes you off to so much. But we also don't want to be like the Neptunian fog in the cloudedness of being submerged in the collective consciousness and being completely one with all, and like not even sure of who you are anymore because your boundaries have just dissolved completely and you're just like in this mud of just consciousness and you've forgotten who you are, which can happen with really strong Pisces energy. So Saturn is so important to create those boundaries and structure, and we're being called to have that in perfect harmony and balance, which is hard to do when you are a very empathetic person and you're sensitive to the outside world and you absorb energies. If you're an energetic sponge and you take on things, you're going to want to have stronger boundaries. And through encountering people who overstep your boundaries and take advantage of you, which I feel like is a lesson that all empaths have to undergo, you slowly over time develop stronger and stronger boundaries until you will not tolerate any form of disrespect ever again, which is powerful and so necessary, essential. It's so important. But then after you take your power back, then with this full moon, times like this is when we're being called to have a look at where we can maybe soften a bit more. For certain people, certain individuals will need to have a look at where they need to soften more and make your energy more open and allowing and receptive to divine flow, to divine inspiration, to connections, to community, to opportunities even that are probably just waiting for you, but you're just a bit too closed off out of fear. And then there's others who are maybe on the extreme end of still like people pleasing and over giving and being walked all over, and those people, those of us, need to learn to say no more often and to speak up and to clear that throat chakra and to like really stand up for yourself, stand your ground. And it's sometimes it's not even having to say that, but it's just to be able to create that energetic boundary by deciding for yourself what you will and will not tolerate, knowing your worth, knowing what you deserve, and knowing that you deserve respect. And as soon as you decide that, the right people who will respect you, and also the people in your life that maybe weren't understanding of your boundaries, they will start to see that energetically, what you are able to tolerate. So there is those two extremes, and this full moon is calling for us to have that in more balance and harmony, especially with the Libra energy that's also coming in soon. Actually, we do have I believe Mercury is in Libra. So I just checked, Mercury just entered Libra today, and Mars is in Libra. So this full moon, on the side of what is going on with this full moon, there's Saturn and Neptune conjuncting this full moon in Pisces. There's also Mercury and Mars both in Libra. So our mind, our intellect, our thoughts, our beliefs, the way that we communicate is also conjuncting the planet of Mars, which is our aggression, our assertion, the way that we take action, the way that we defend and fight for ourselves and protect what is important to us. So this is all needing to come into balance and harmony with the connections in our life and the relationships, and more peace is really what is wanting to come about with that transit that's happening. Venus is also still in Leo with K2, which was a big theme for last solar eclipse, which is still coming up and rising to this peak culmination point with the full moon. And Venus is to do with our heart chakras, so the way that we love ourselves and how healthy that is, and that will determine the rest of the connections and relationships in our life, which is all ruled by Venus. And all things beautiful, beauty, art, creativity, money as well is a part of Venus. So anything to do with these themes that need a clearing, a release, a purification, a realignment, maybe even revisiting and bringing back to reintegrate some things from your past can be happening. And this, like, Venus just really plays a big role in basically everything that I've mentioned, with the boundaries and with the perception of our reality. It's all based upon how we are loving on ourselves and of life, which first comes with ourselves. And love is one of the highest frequencies, and it is really connected to truth. Like, when you're seeing through the eyes of love, through the lens of love, you're also seeing through with truth, which is what these planets with Neptune and Saturn retrograde wants us to clear away any of the fear and the anxieties and the attachments and the just all of the fog that is really preventing us from seeing clearly. And Jupiter with Pisces and this Mercury energy is wanting to bring us back to truth and clarity and real true discernment, so that we can create the right decisions and move forward in our life in the most aligned way. And Revati wants us to move, to explore, to travel, and to experience. And so do these planets that are aspecting the Revati full moon. There's a lot of energy coming up for us that wants us to just experience more in life and to really ground the Piscean dream world into this reality, that because we live here on Earth, and if you have a lot of Pisces in your chart or 12th house in your chart, you are a big dreamer and you have a lot going on in the astral, in the subconscious, in the feeling emotional worlds that is very Neptunian and very otherworldly. But we were put on Earth for a reason, and we have to bring those skills, those creativity, those unique experiences back to Earth. We have to share those in whatever way we feel called to. And if it's not sharing through expressing, maybe it's like you need to experience more of the world for yourself through traveling, through moving, through learning something new, through meeting new friends, going to different events and doing things like this. This full moon is illuminating to us where we need to also get out of our comfort zone and to move our energy in that divine, surrendered, flowing way, in whatever way that feels called to you. And ecstatic dance and moving and doing yoga, art, channeling your creativity into whatever unique way you feel called to. Highly recommend that during this full moon. And connecting with water if you can as well is going to be really powerful. That is basically all I wanted to share with my intuitive insights for the full moon. But before I go, I also want to quickly mention, for anyone who may be interested, I did recently create and upload a new set onto my SoundCloud for anyone who is into music. I don't know how to describe the genre of this set because it is kind of like a mix of music, but it's called 12th House, and the intentions of this set is to help you connect with your own 12th house, which is super relevant with this full moon because the 12th house is connected with Pisces, and this is a full moon in Pisces. And it'll be a great set to listen to help you go through your own introspective journey, and maybe if you want to move a little bit and dance and get into the flow state, that is my intention, so that you can really connect with your 12th house, which is connecting with your higher self, with your guides, with your guardians, your angels, your ancestors. I am channeling my own 12th house in this set, which is really connected to the 3 nakshatras of Aquarius. There is the Dhanishta nakshatra, really strong, which is channeling the frequencies of the flute and the drums, and also that message of the flute and the drums being empty vessels, being like, we can also empty our vessels and be that divine channel of inspired, receptive flow. And then the Shadabhishak nakshatras, that energy is really strong of wanting to connect different cultures and different religions, different races. We are all one, very Aquarius energy, so just like connecting all of that together, and also connecting a lot of the earth and nature sounds and frequencies. And then there's also the Purva Bhadra energy, which is a bit more like transcendent and wanting to help transmute and transcend and just really teleport you to connect with the most divine, loving energies that you are supposed to connect with in this time, if you are whatever you are open to and whatever is aligned with you. So yeah, that is one of my new sets that I will leave the link below on this video if you're interested. But yeah, other than that, I hope that you all have a really healing full moon. I'd love to hear what's been coming up for you during the eclipse cycle and also this full moon to come. And I'm curious, has the eclipse cycle sort of finished for you and phased out now, and are you feeling like more refreshed and lighter, or are you still like, is it still kind of a lot and coming up to process? I'm curious to hear. Wherever you're at in your journey, I send you so much love and healing and light and blessings, and I hope that you all have a really healing full moon. I will see you all in my next video. Bye loves.